Hey guys, Steve Harris here with Muse Themes. Really excited today to show you a brand new, rebuilt from the ground up version of one of our most popular widgets ever, the Media Pro Gallery. Media Pro Gallery is a perfect solution to mix photos and videos together in a gallery, and the gallery can be sorted by different collections. So you can see here I'm sorting by portraits or wedding. And then once you click on a photo or a video, it opens in a light box, and we can explore within that light box. We have thumbnails, we have captions, we have even tons of options for downloading images or zooming in, all of which can be turned on and off in the widget settings. The widget is completely responsive, so let me drop back to all images, and you can see when I scale it down here, we have a beautiful and optimized mobile view. We also have the ability to launch this gallery in a variety of ways. Right now we have the full gallery up on the page, but if I open up the dynamic page, you can see that we could launch a gallery from a simple play button. This is a video gallery. Or we can open it using a thumbnail. So we can show one thumbnail from the gallery and open it that way. So tons of options here, all based on your great feedback on what you need to include in your site or your client's site. A couple of quick highlights about the rebuilt version. You can now include mixed aspect ratios of photos. So right now these are all square, but if I go to the mixed gallery, you can see that we've got portrait and landscape images all together in one gallery. So this is a really nice and highly requested feature. Of course, we've got improved mobile support. It works really well on a mobile device. We have a ton of different formats and options within the widget for you to lay the gallery out. And the last thing I'll mention is that all of the plugins and third-party elements that we've used for this are all properly licensed as well. MuseThemes now pays a monthly license to these code providers, and you need to make sure that if you're using galleries like this and they have these third-party plugins included, that they've properly licensed them, or you don't actually have the rights to use them on your client's site. We are paying a license now so that you can use these properly on the web. So as you can imagine, this widget has a ton of setup options. So I'm going to split these videos up. We'll do one as a quick start guide to using Media Pro, and we'll do a second video that's kind of a deep dive on specific features. So let's get started. So when you first download the Media Pro Gallery widget and we extract the zip file, you'll see that within we have the MuseLib itself, which is our widget, and then we also have the demo asset that you see on our live site. So if I open that up in Muse, you'll see that it's an exact version of the demo I just reviewed. So if you want to deconstruct this and see how we've done some elements on it, please feel free. All of the assets are also included with that demo in the folder here called Media Pro Assets. So let me just double click on the MuseLib to import the widget into our library, and I'm going to open it up on a blank page in Muse. So in our library panel here on the right, we have Media Pro Gallery 2, and I'll drag it onto the canvas. Okay, so when we drop it on the canvas, you'll see that we have four main elements that appear. Now I'll run through each of these elements so that you know how they all interact with each other. The first one is the toolbox, and in terms of settings on the toolbox, there's nothing. The toolbox is just the main component that needs to be on any page that you're using the gallery on. You only need one of these per page that you have a gallery on, even if you have multiple galleries on that page. So I'm just going to move that out of the way for now because it's perfect like that. The next component we have is the collections component. And if I open up the options here, you'll see that we have just a few options for setting this up. But what this does is it allows you to do custom buttons for those filtered collections. You do not need this if you don't want custom collection buttons. But for now, I'm just going to move it over and we'll run through the rest of them. Now we have the loader. The loader is important. The loader is where you actually put your media or photo information. So if I open up the panel on here, you'll see that we again have a gallery ID, and within it says gallery items. And this is where we add the photos and videos and that sort of thing. So we can enable each item, we can go through and add files, we can customize thumbnails, and then we get to decide which collection we want that item to be in. So that's the loader component, and you can duplicate that and have as many as you want. The last element is the gallery itself right here on the canvas. And if I open that window, you'll see that we have a big panel with tons of options. So some initial setup options here, and then we have these kind of drop-down areas where we have lots and lots of options. We have a complete breakdown of these options on our documentation area on the site, so I won't cover everything in detail in this video. So let's go ahead and set up a simple gallery. The first thing I'm going to do is just move this up, and I'm going to shrink it a little bit so I can see that panel a little bit easier. Okay. There you go. So to begin, I want to make sure that all of our items are linked up. And the way that they link up is they use the gallery ID. So if I open up my loader, it says gallery ID is gallery 1. That needs to match across all of these widgets. So if I open up this component, we have gallery ID, gallery 1, so it looks good, it matches up, everything's going to work. So to begin, let's load some media elements into our loader widget. So if I open up the panel and go to the gallery items, let's enable item 1. Where do we want this to come from? We can have it come from an external or local source, so your hard drive or somewhere on the web. So I'm going to have it be a local source, and I'm going to add the file. And let's add a wedding image here, wedding 1. Okay. Now it asks, where do I want the thumbnail to come from? So I'm just going to use the source as the thumbnail. Then I don't need to do a custom thumbnail. The thumbnail options then gray out because we don't need them. And then it asks us what collection we want this element to be in. So I'm going to have this be in a collection called wedding. Then we can go ahead and add some captions. So we could say wedding photo 1, and there's a sample caption. That's perfect. So let me add just a couple of different elements in here. So I'll do number 2. Let's add another wedding picture. I'm going to use the source as the thumbnail, and same collection, wedding, and caption wedding 2. And let's go ahead and enable a third item. And for a third item, I'm going to do a bit of a different category. So let's do a portrait. So I'll add portrait image 1, same thumbnail. And so for this collection, I'm going to call this portrait. Okay. And the fourth item, let's add another portrait image. Same collection, also called portraits. And lastly, let's add a fifth item in a whole new collection. So I'm going to add in a lifestyle photo. So here we go, lifestyle 2. Perfect. And that one I'm going to add to a collection, or call the collection lifestyle. Okay, there you go. So we have 5 items loaded into our loader. Now I could duplicate this loader widget if I wanted and have as many photos as I want, but for now, for the sake of this demo, 5 should work. So now I'm just going to jump into the gallery itself here and just check a few settings. So gallery ID, gallery 1, perfect. Gallery type, do we want a regular gallery, or do we want it to launch with a button or through a single thumbnail? I'm just going to have it be a regular gallery. How do we want it to order? By collection or shuffled? Let's do collection. Collection display style. So do we want custom buttons or just the default buttons? I'm going to use the default buttons for now because they're pretty nice. Next up, we have the collection names. Well, these are not the names that we've used. What you need to do here is just enter your names followed by a comma and a space. So I used wedding, portrait, and lifestyle. Perfect. Next up, we have 2 elements that are grayed out. Those are for different gallery types. Now, without changing anything else, I'm going to preview this in the browser and see how my gallery is looking. There you go. So we have the different filter options. So that's looking good. Everything's working really well. And if I launch any of these gallery items, it opens in our lightbox and we can scroll through. Now you'll notice they're all opening up right now in the lightbox, but if I was to filter this by wedding and then open up one of the wedding images, now you can see we only get those 2 in the lightbox. So it's a really smart widget. It knows what your user has pre-filtered and limits the lightbox to showing those. So this is working really well and out of the box, completely responsive. So that's a quick overview of how to set up the Media Pro Gallery. In our next video, I'm going to deep dive into some of the specific settings that you'll need to use or that you'll want to customize when you're setting up this gallery. Thanks again, and best of luck with this widget.